Hi, how are you guys today? I hope this video finds you in the midst of an amazing day. So, I don't know how many of you can relate, but I'm a paper and journal fanatic. And I really love the ones that have nice little quotes and reminders at the top. So, let me tell you, last night when I went to update my schedule for the week, right? Because, I always sit down on Sunday evenings to plan out my week. I read the quote at the top and I got chills because it was so closely related to what I had just talked about, what I had just shared on Sunday morning during my Coffee with Crystal podcast. So I'll share that quote with you right now. The quote read, "That dream that you have was planted in your heart for a reason." And that just blew me away. And I found that so fitting. You see, as I mentioned to you guys last week, right? I just recently wrapped up the 3-part series on discovering your God-assigned purpose. And I encourage you, if you haven't already, like I said last week, head over to DTAG, the drcrystalc.com, and take a listen to the series. Just trust me on that. But as you know, right, when we began to move forward in a direction, in a positive direction, the enemy always shows up to discourage and cause us to doubt that dream that God has planted in our hearts. So today, in light of that, that quote that I read and everything that I wrapped up, and that's what I was talking about on the Coffee with Crystal podcast yesterday, just how to not give in, how to not fall prey to those lies from the enemy. So anyway, today, I would like to talk about the importance of letting go of the things that prevent us from fully embracing all that we were called to be, right? We're all human. And as humans, we make mistakes daily, but we can't allow ourselves to be defined or held prisoner to those mistakes. Yes, we stumble. And yes, we often fall, but we can't stay there. We must dig deep. We must hold fast to God's promises. We have to remember that we only need to reach out to Him. We only need to turn to Him and correct course. So let me share this passage with you. 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 10 through 11 tell us, "Godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation and leaves no regret. But worldly sorrow brings death. See what this godly sorrow has produced in you. What earnestness, what eagerness to clear yourselves, what indignation, what alarm, what longing, what concern, what readiness to see justice done. At every point, you have proved yourselves to be innocent in this matter." So you might ask, well, what does this look like practically? How does that tie in to not allowing the enemy to get in there and hold us prisoner to the mistakes that we've made? You may ask, how do we live this passage out in a way that we don't fall right into the enemy's schemes? Or you may be asking, well, what does godly sorrow look like? So this is just a quick 3-step process that I encourage you guys to go through. It looks like 1, repentance. And repentance is simply making a 180-degree turn, going in the opposite direction of the thing that goes against God, and it's beginning to walk in step with His word. So whatever it is, whatever that mistake is, whatever that stumbling that you did, it's getting up, it's correcting course and moving forward. And that removes the enemy from being able to have anything to whisper in your ear about and cause you to doubt that dream that God has placed in you. It removes his ability to cause you to doubt. He can no longer whisper and say, who are you to think that you can do thus and such when look at what you're doing? Because now you've corrected course and you're moving in step with God. So 1, it looks like repentance. 2, it looks like confession and accountability. And guys, that's simply having someone in your life that you can go to when you stumble, someone you can be completely vulnerable with, someone who will be there to pray with you, to pray for you, to encourage and support you, but also someone that when needed will also hold you accountable for making the necessary changes in your life. It's just that simple. It's the close friendships that we have. It's finding that trusting person that you know, in spite of everything, loves you enough to tell you the truth about your junk and to hold you accountable for correcting course when you need to. So 1, it looks like repentance. 2, it looks like confession and accountability. And 3rd, it looks like self-forgiveness. Psalms 103, verse 12 tells us, as far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. God does not hold records of our transgressions. And you know what? We shouldn't either. One of the worst things that we can do is to continually punish ourselves and live in regret about something that God has already forgotten. So that dream that's in your heart, the thing that God has predestined for only you to do, it's still there. God still wants to use you to fulfill that plan. Don't allow the enemy to trick you into believing anything else. So guys, this has been your motivational moment for the week. Have an amazing week.